Everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. And for the Grue Rume Show today, I'm very excited and very happy to welcome back an amazing man, someone I always have an absolute fun time chatting with. And we still stay in touch through messages, and his name is Thomas Dekker. And he's going to be in a movie. Well, he's in a movie. It's out called Little Dixie. And of course, Thomas Dekker has been known for numerous roles. He's been in so many different TV series and films. And for the horror world, he's been in multiple horror films. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him about his new film, about his new music. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Rume. And my interview with the one and only Thomas Dekker will be coming up very soon. This is my Grue Rume, and as always, welcome to my nightmares. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back to Grue, and I'm really excited and happy for you to come back on the show again.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, of course. So you are in a new film that's out, Little Dixie, and
Yes.
How did you get to be part of this film?
So I did another movie that came out, I believe 2020, maybe 2021, called Body Brokers. And that was same director, same producer. And so this guy, John Swab, who's the director, and Jeremy Rosen, who's the producer, they're like movie making machines, and they actually make good ones, which is really wild. But they've a lot of movies kind of they've already released 2 this year, Little Dixie being one of them, and the other one being Candyland, by the way, which I'm not in, but I was in my top 5 movies of last year. So if you haven't seen
actually saw that movie, it was really good. Yes, it was really good.
They invited me to the premiere of that, and I just, what a wild movie. But anyway, so I did Body Brokers, kind of a one big scene situation. And I loved that particularly because of the material, as it was kind of autobiographical for John and based on a lot of true stories. So I did that movie. And then when this came around, it was just kind of a, hey, you want to? And so I went back to Tulsa, Oklahoma the second time, and had a great time.
Wow. Tulsa, huh?
Tulsa. He does almost everything in Tulsa. So,
wait, really? Get out.
Yeah, that's where he's from.
Oh.
So he has this kind of amazing infrastructure of crew, and he works with kind of the same people again and again, and we kind of stay at the same hotel, and it's nice. I hope I get to go back for another John Swab adventure at some point, because I really love him as a director, and I love Jeremy as a producer too. It's rare to find people who are actually getting like indie movies made, and they actually care about kind of making indies for the right reasons. It's kind of getting rarer and rarer. So yeah, I feel very lucky to kind of be in their little family as of now.
Wow, it's crazy. Like Tulsa this year in 23, like I think a lot of people are going to want to go visit it because Sylvester Stallone just made a TV series based in Tulsa. What the hell was it called? I can't remember. Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, yeah.
And now you're in a movie in Tulsa. So
Scorsese did a movie in Tulsa too. Scorsese has a big movie that was all shot in Tulsa that they'd kind of done right before we were shooting Little Dixie, and it was a lot of the same crew. So yeah, lots of stuff happening in Tulsa.
I never knew that was a big place to film.
I think it's kind of semi-recent. It depends on certain states to have these tax credits, right? So I remember at one point it was like everything was in New Mexico, and then another everything was in New Orleans, and then everything was North Carolina, and like they kind of, Atlanta seems to be the one that is just been busy with filming for the past 20 years or whatever.
I know that was like another thing shocking to me. Like when I interviewed different actors, I would assume that they would say, "Oh, Los Angeles or New York or Canada, but Atlanta is all I've been hearing. It's wild. Like I would never have expected that.
Yeah, nothing seems to shoot in LA anymore, and few things in New York too. Like I think Swimming with Sharks was like the first thing I'd done in forever that actually shot in LA. I mean, because it had to, it was set here, but yeah, everything's get to go on a plane and usually disappear into some tiny little town, which I kind of love. Yeah,
Tulsa's a small town, right?
yeah, it's got a like great kind of downtown cosmopolitan kind of area, which is where we were staying, and so you feel like you're in a city. But yeah. Ultimately, I must admit, like I really realized my kind of spoiled life living in a city where you can really kind of get anything at any time of day or night, because we would wrap in Tulsa at like midnight, and I'd be really hungry or something, get back to the hotel and kind of be like, hey, where can I get food? And they'd be like, nowhere, like everything's closed. Like, oh fuck, that's right, like that happens. I'm spoiled with like, you want dim sum at 4 a.m. you can get it, it's
all you have to do, I mean, you don't even have to leave the house now. You just pick up your phone and order DoorDash or Uber Eats, and it, within half hour you'll have your food.
Yeah, I kind of got on all that everything coming to you during COVID, and then I sort of haven't relinquished that habit. I because I'm naturally a bit of a hermit anyway. So yeah, I'm a big delivery person of all.
Okay. If you don't have to physically go to the place and order something and walk it back or drive back, like if you can have someone do that for you, it's a lot easier.
That's right. Just make sure you tip your drivers well.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can't give them $1 tip or $2. You have to make sure it's at least $3. No, I'm only joking.
$3.50. There.
For anyone who hasn't heard about the movie, can you tell us a little bit about it and about the character you play?
Yes. So, Little Dixie is a very gritty, down and dirty kind of throwback to 1970s, I think, in particular cinema that was kind of like, when Westerns were kind of heading out and crime thrillers were coming in, and it was sort of that meeting point where the sensibility of a Western was meeting up with a modern kind of city crime, and also noir. Like it's kind of this mashup of all of those things stylistically. And but the story is about, there's sort of this truce in Tulsa. It's set in Tulsa, or at least in Oklahoma, excuse me. And there's this truce between the drug cartel and the governor, where the drug cartel has kind of funded the governor's everything with the agreement that he'll be lenient with them, and then he breaks that trust, and so everything goes to hell. And I am the governor's aide, like I'm his little smarmy politician, wannabe ambitious politician guy. And which was fun because I've never really played that before, and I sort of figure out the corruption that even I, as his aide, wasn't fully aware of, and we all get caught in the crosshairs. And it's a really great cast. Frank Grillo plays this guy Doc, who's kind of a special forces type of guy who was sort of in charge of maintaining this truce, and so he ends up, his daughter gets kidnapped by the cartel. It just turns into a whole crazy action thriller, but with this very specific vibe and style. And that's what I like most about what John is doing as a director, is he's basically, you've seen Candyland, he's taking tropes and expectations and sort of genre elements or narrative plot devices that we've experienced a lot, but he's putting them through his very specific lens and through his very specific style. And so, yeah, you have Little Dixie that's kind of this action thriller, but it's shot in this very kind of John Carpenter-y, removed, dark view. It's not sort of a like wham bam hero action, and that's what I like about him. He's you know, he's marking his own path through the way in which he tells these stories that feel kind of familiar, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm also John's publicist, apparently.
I see that. I was gonna ask if you got like a little bit of cut for
Yeah.
pushing the film.
My back end is work.
And, you mentioned like Frank is one of the stars of the film, and Frank Grillo has been in like everything. So what's it like being on set with him and working with him?
Well, so Frank and John have worked together a lot too, and Frank was actually in the other one I did,
Nice.
but we had no scenes together, and we never met on that one. And then in this one, of course, we have quite a bit of stuff together. And I don't know, he was funny to me. Frank was just very funny. We were just, he's very chill and kind of quiet and does his thing. And there's a really fun scene. I don't think this can consist of being called a spoiler, but he basically like grabs me by the balls, literally.
Oh my God.
Eases me into this agonized position of doing whatever he wants. And that was really fun. I think that was like the first scene we did together. And that was really fun. But it's this tremendous cast. They always get all these great actors. Eric Dane plays the governor, my boss. Annabeth Gish plays kind of the politician who's making it all work. Bo Knapp plays, and he's amazing, plays this kind of villainous, the boogeyman of the cartel who comes and kills everybody. And a million other, Mercedes Mason, like a million other fantastic actors that I get to share the screen with. So very, very grateful.
Wow. Well, I hope for your sake you were wearing a cup when he was grabbing you by the balls, because that's painful.
Yeah. When it's Frank Grillo, you go, "Oh, naturel, baby." No, I'm kidding. He didn't actually, you know, it was good. This is why it's acting.
Yeah.
Balls are still in one piece, two pieces, however you describe it.
Okay, good. As long as the crown jewels are where they're supposed to be, that's awesome.
Although frankly, if anyone's going to obliterate the crown jewels, let it be Frank Grillo.
Exactly. And what did you like most about playing a politician? Like you're basically a politician in this film.
Yeah, certainly you know, a guy who really wants to be a big politician. Like I think he's kind of, you know, he's moving up.
Well, yeah, he's moving up the politician ladder.
That's right. No, it was really fun because you know, the beauty of John's movies, and especially this one, is that he doesn't really he's not about likable characters. He's not, and that's kind of what I love about him. Like he's not really like everybody in this movie is pretty bad. Like they're really, other than Frank's daughter, it's like everybody. So that's kind of what I love. There's not this old school like hero villain black white like positive negative thing. Everybody's in the muck of the situation. And so for mine, I think I wanted him to be that smarmy, sassy, like obnoxious kind of, you know, dressed up in his best suit kind of thing, and you kind of want to punch him in the face. But then he when he starts to figure out what's going on, the kind of thing I wanted was that you realize like, oh, this guy actually isn't fully aware of just how fucked up this all is, and he actually, I think, has a conscience about it. And so hopefully you feel a little bad for him. And then certainly with what happens to him, hopefully you feel a little bad for him. But yeah, I don't know.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. It was a good
That's
time.
awesome. I love it. As long as you're having fun doing it, right? It's all that matters.
Right.
And is there, you know, without giving spoilers and all that stuff, like, is there a certain scene you had the most fun with, or was it the scene with Frank Grillo?
Well, I would say it's a spoiler, and I shouldn't put it out there, but it's the one scene that they put out, and it's where I'm hand kind of tied up in a car with Bo, and it's very intense and very and that was, you know, I'm one of the, I don't know how other actors feel about it, but I love scenes that are like just exhausting and full of screaming and crying and everything else. Like, I don't know, you get kind of this cathartic release from it, and that was definitely one of those scenes. And yeah, shot like all night, and it was a lot of screaming and crying, which I find kind of to be a release. But other than that, I really loved like hanging out with Eric Dane and Mercedes Mason, because Mercedes plays the kind of other aide to him. So there's kind of two of us, right? So we're always together, and the three of us formed a fun little friendship in Tulsa. So that was like really pleasant as a person. But as an actor, I probably loved doing my big, I mean, it's a death scene. Sure. It's a death sound, you know, let that go.
Okay.
Hey, they put it out, not me. Not my fault.
Now, when you were filming in Tulsa, you didn't see Sylvester Stallone riding a horse or nothing, right?
I did not. And if I'd seen that, you better believe I'd remember it. So that's an image you don't forget from outside your window. So no Stallone on a horse. No Stallone on anything.
Okay. There you go. And you were also this year, you were also part of a big series, swimming with sharks.
Yeah.
And I know you formed like a nice friendship with both Catherine and Kieran, right? Like from the show.
I had the best time making that show, but yeah, it's actually been crazy to me that subsequently you work together with people, and when I was younger and a little more naive, you kind of, I don't know, you form these really intense friendships, and you think they're never going to end, and you're going to stay this tight forever. And of course, what always happens for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time, is you form these immensely tight bonds, and then the project ends, comes out, and you kind of just all go your separate ways.
Yeah.
And I've had a few instances in my career where I've been fortunate enough to really maintain really long-lasting, strong friendships. And yeah, Kathleen Robertson, Kiernan Shipka, and Diane Kruger, actually, who I got to know Diane actually a little bit more after filming at South by Southwest and stuff like that. But I love those three so much. And of course, I also love Finn Jones and everybody in the cast. And we've stayed in touch, pretty regularly through the gram and all that shit. Okay. And just really wonderful people. And I can't wait for Kathleen's next creation, because I just think she's really kind of a trailblazer in terms of the material she wants to approach and how she wants to approach it. So I really hope that we get to work together again. That would be really nice.
Yeah, the first time I saw her, I think was on, I believe it was 90210. That was like the first time I ever saw her, like in anything.
Yeah, I told her this too when I was like, I don't know, 13 or something. I had a crush on Kathleen, and because how could you not?
She was great on the show, like just like when she walked on the screen, like you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, and I also knew Kathleen because of Greg Araki stuff, because she's in Nowhere and Splendor, and then I boom for him, and so we actually had this. We'd met once, really briefly. I want to say in 2013, maybe. Yeah, we were both on the same morning news show in Toronto, Canada. And she was going on right before me. And she came up, she was like, "You're in Greg's movie." And I was like, "Yeah, you're Kathleen." And this was this quick thing. And then we didn't see each other until I went and read for Swimming with Sharks. But we had this whole kind of, if you've been in the Greg Araki verse, there's kind of I don't know, you feel a sense of community. Same with like Jimmy Duvall and Jonathan Sheck. And, I've kind of known all of them peripherally through the years. And so, yeah, there's the Greg connection. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And Karen and I would have loved to seen you be in the chilling adventures of Sabrina. Like that would have been awesome to see this
I would
to
have liked that
you in that.
too. No, but I definitely want to, it's funny. I think because she's, she's young and very and famous and popping and all that. A lot of people ask me about her specifically, like what's she like? And I cannot say enough good things about Kiernan. She's just got this enormous heart, and she's very herself with everyone, and she's so respectful, and she's so loving, and she's so kind. And you know, young people at the point in their career that she's at don't necessarily behave in those ways.
Well,
And
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah, so I just adore her, and I'm very protective of her.
Oh, okay.
In a weird level, but anyway.
So if she ever dates anyone, she has to call you first, right? And say, all right, do you approve of him?
I don't think she'd do that, but she should know if she hears this that yes, that I will be there to kick anyone's ass. The point of this story.
There you go. And, and was it fun for you playing Travis and Swimming with Sharks?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was it was my first time playing a gay role out myself.
Yeah.
And that made a big difference in all ways, just kind of being able to have fully open conversations, creative conversations with Kathleen and Tucker Gates, who directed it. And I don't know, just I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's like when you're playing a part, a version of yourself on set who's then playing a character, it's more layered and confusing. Whereas just being able to go in and be like, no, this is me. This is what I have in common with this role. This is what I don't. Let's play with it. It was very liberating in that way. And of course, also just to play such a bitch. Like he's a really unpleasant, nasty little thing. And that's always fun. Who doesn't want to do that? So I remember like the script supervisor or someone on the scene where I tell her she's late to work was like, before we'd even cut, she was like, "You're evil." I was like, "Oh, take that. Yes. Thank you. I'm doing my job." So no, it was a really good time. And it was amazing. Like we got to shoot in all these iconic places here in LA. Like we shot at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, Marilyn Monroe's first apartment.
Oh my
Hollywood
God. Wow.
Musso and Frank, which is the oldest restaurant in Hollywood. That's the scene with me and Ross Butler and Kiernan. We shot at Grauman's Chinese, like just kind of endless. Jumbo's Clown Room. Like it was really, and having grown up here, pretty much working here my whole life, these are all places I know personally, but had never shot in before. And it was great. I felt like a tourist in the city in a way.
Oh my God, that's so great. I love how you say it was fun playing a bitch.
Well, yeah, fun to play a bitch. Yeah,
definitely. Here you go. And the last time we talked, you had songs out, like you had a song that was coming out, and now that we're talking again, I see you since then you released some new music and you made a dance album. So what inspired you to want to write and make some new music and make it all dance?
Yeah, well, I think the last time we spoke, I think Tasma was like just coming out, which was the last. Yeah, that was the last full album I put out in 2021, and that had been like a few years of work. That one took a really long time. Mm-hmm. And then since then, because I really started using social media like the end of 2021, I really like I've had an account for forever, but I was never using it until very recently. And so then once I started using it recently, I was like, I'm kind of always producing dance tracks and instrumentals and just kind of like songs that are, you know, just kind of come out of me and aren't this big ordeal with like multiple people involved. And so once I started using social media, I was like, oh, I can like put these out. It's kind of a nice way to just kind of share. But I'm right now in the middle of another album, like a full album. So I'm a few tracks like done, completed in, and I don't know yet when this is going to be ready to come out. I would hope this year. And this kind of, I had this other record that was like, that I've been talking about for a while, that was supposed to be the next one. And then it's what tends to happen with me, this like one track kind of happened. And it opened a whole kind of creative pathway of like, oh, I kind of like this vibe instead. And everything's really flowing in this vibe. So I'm going to go with this. And it's turned into this album, like I said, that I'm kind of right in the middle of right now, with the working title Serpentine. Ooh, and
I like that.
Yeah, it's a good word. And, you know, you can say serpentine or serpentine, apparently, and it doesn't matter. So I love that. I love people to have options. But it's dance still, but it's like moody kind of, you know, and not to get too heavy here, but to answer your question, I found in my, you know, in my now 5 years of no alcohol, no drugs, you know, being a rather sober individual, my relationship to nightlife and dance music and all the culture that kind of comes with that, being a raver and all that stuff, you know, when I kind of got sober, that was all kind of shelved for a bit. And then I realized all of that's really crucial to my kind of spiritual well-being. And I've always found a kind of meditative, hypnotic quality to dance music.
Yeah.
And so this album is kind of about the connection to all that without the kind of outward like debauchery, going to clubs kind of element. So it's this weird combo of like hardcore dance, like let's fucking go energy, but in a very kind of private, shrouded, kind of concealed, dark, but kind of sly space. So that's kind of what's happening here, and that's been really fun to tap into, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now, since you've been clean for 5 years, like have you ever gone to any like dance club or anything, like just to go out and dance?
Oh yeah. I figured out, you know, pretty quickly, all things considered, I think probably within a year or two, of how to be present and still go to those things.
Well, yeah.
Do those things because I love that energy. I love the space of people just going to kind of physically lose themselves in this mass hysteria, I guess, to a beat. And so I figured out relatively quickly how to be in those spaces without succumbing to all the bad habits.
Exactly.
But yeah, so definitely found that, fortunately, found that middle ground and have been able to do that. And of course, in the years of doing that, one comes to realize that the kind of getting obliterated and fucked up and not having your faculties about you is really nothing to do with the drive to go and release, in a way. Like culturally, we think they're kind of one and the same. But you can go out and get everything you need from like a night out without self-destructing in the
process. Yeah, I drink every. I'm not a big person for drinking, but I'll have like a beer or two every now and then. But like if I'm out like at a club or a bar, like I'll drink like soda or Red Bull and only once in a while I'll have like a drink or like a beer. I'm not big into drinking, but I will go to bars and clubs though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think that it's great to do those things. You know, who was I reading the other day was saying there needs to be like all day discos that you can just
No,
pop into and like express and like lose your shit for a minute. And I'm a full supporter of that.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think also generationally, the way people are looking at, the nightlife versus the kind of like, all right, I gotta like drink to black out and get that to have been kind of the next and younger generations don't seem to be so like brainwashed with that, which, I'm a child of the 2000s, like God help me. But that was a different kind of way of looking at it all. Yeah, it's been very liberating in that way. And also, of course, again, I think being out is a huge part of that, because there was always this, if I went to a kind of a nightlife situation, it was like, who might know I'm here, who might see me. And there was comfort in just kind of getting just like deadening the brain and all kind of concern. And so then once you come out of that and then you're out and you're kind of like, no, like this is a space I can occupy with confidence and sort of and not have to like disappear into my own. Anyway, sorry, this is all getting very intense for
no, this is,
but it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, cause like that must be hard. Like just I mean, just thinking of that, like going through something like that, like for someone like you, or like I know like other actors that had to hide and finally come out, but like when you're still in that hidden phase where you don't want no one to know, it must be hard. Like if you want to go to a gay bar or a gay club, you can't really go, because if one of your fans see you, they're gonna be like, oh my God, it's Thomas Dekker. He's at this club, and then it would get like all over the news.
Yeah, I mean, certainly at the time when I was like 20, 21, 22, and I was kind of doing all these big like network shows and shit, it was, I would say, yeah, the fear of that was palpable, and it was palpable of both the public, but more so, living in LA, kind of surrounded by my job and my industry and everyone attached to that. It was also that concern. It was like, who's going to kind of, who am I going to, it was just a kind of constant feeling of like, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble for this. And that's, of course, when you're finding yourself as a young person, that's kind of a serious mind fuck of, it's beyond the typical, how am I going to appear to people? You're mixing in also like this massive pressure of work that, a lot of money is attached to it. A lot of people are attached to it. And so you just feel a lot of responsibility. And, yeah, it's been really wonderful to kind of just leave all that.
Oh yeah,
Get behind. It's been good. So I haven't even asked if I can swear on your show, and I just keep doing
you
it.
Definitely can. Yes.
So, okay. Good. Otherwise, this would be pretty unusual. Anyway.
And like just recently, like a couple actors that recently came out, and I feel bad because to me it feels like they were bullied, because I like followed them through the years, and Kit Connor and Noah Schnapp, like they were both like kind of bullied on the line, because ever since Stranger Things came out, everyone was like, oh my, yeah, Noah Schnapp's gay, he should just come out and say it. And he was kind of getting bullied like a lot online from people wanting him to come out. And I can only imagine how that must have felt for him as a kid, because finally when he turns 18 years old, he's finally comfortable enough now to actually come out and say that he's gay. And like, how do you feel about that? Like young people like Noah Schnapp getting bullied online to come out when you're not ready to.
Well, I have a lot to say about all that. I was the same thing. It was a constant bullying. And when I was young, I would read message boards and I would read comments, and like I said, in kind of end of the 2000s, that was a really brutal period. I mean, it was like, every website would be riddled with just hundreds of fuck you comments, basically. And that's a lot to handle. But then when it's infringing on this very personal part of yourself that you're, and I was still in my journey, I was kind of very open and sexually fluid and wasn't like sort of, I wasn't fully aware yet of like exactly what was going on, which is also, I think, very common with a lot of young people. And the one thing I want to say that I've noticed, and is a trend that I think is broader than just the coming out of the closet situation, is I think in general, culturally, we were in this long period of just bullying and trolling and kind of just being like let's say it was like, oh well, we're going to bully this kid because we think he might be gay, and like we're going to kind of make fun of him. And then that turned into, well, now we're going to attack this person because they're not doing the right thing and coming out soon enough. And I think there's a thin line between, wanting what's right. And I do agree, people with celebrity, even myself to a degree, it's wonderful if we feel comfortable and confident enough to come out and share our truth and share our stories, because those truths and stories can greatly impact and positively affect, I think, a lot of young people in the world. And I think it's very meaningful and very powerful and important. But we want to make sure that we don't take the tack of superiority, where then you're bullying an 18-year-old or younger to do the right thing. It's like, well, how about you do the right thing and let this individual, if you're so concerned about young people's journeys, give them their space. Exactly. And I've seen that a lot. Exactly. And I think in general, we want to be careful, as culture progresses and changes. Like I've noticed there's this, this is more of a fully grown up situation, but I've noticed there's kind of like this almost like backlash in the gay community towards like monogamous relationships or long-term relationships, because that's seen now as like a leftover of heteronormative culture, right? And we have to fight that. And it's like, I totally get it. Like, defend open relationships, defend whatever our unique situations are. But I don't think you need to like, demonize or bastardize certain behaviors because you feel they're linked to something that you're, you know what I mean? It's just like, we all exactly. Very careful about that. And just the point of it all is that everybody should be able to thrive at their own pace, at their own, everybody's life is different. Everybody's got their own cycle of shit they got to deal with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I do feel like it's very crucial and wonderful and important that those with a platform who are LGBTQ plus do come out and speak about it. And I, of course, since I have made a kind of concerted effort to be as open and truthful and vulnerable as possible, because I think it might help someone, but I certainly wouldn't like criticize someone into submission until they do the right thing.
Exactly. I know that's really crazy. That's insane. Like you're trying to control someone's life and their thoughts. Like, what kind of person are you, like, to want to do something like that?
I don't know. There's a lot of need out there for certain things, and I think people go about the wrong way of trying to get for themselves, emotionally and psychologically. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yes. And like, you've done so many different roles. I mean, like, you started out from a kid with Village of the Damned and up until now. Like, is there a role that you loved playing the most?
I mean, I'd say there's kind of two situations. One, I will always look back upon my time as John Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles as a very special moment in my life and career, both because it was this iconic character that I grew up with. I couldn't believe that it was being placed in my hands. And I also simultaneously had like the best personal time making this show that I really believed in. So there's that. And then I would say just yesterday, there was someone left a very beautiful comment on my page about it. But doing the Greg Araki movie Kaboom and doing Cinema Verite Lance Loud. These were kind of, and this is like 2000, 2010, 2011. And again, kind of what we're talking about. These were both, LGBTQ plus kind of representational characters. And I still get many a message from people who were young at that time saying, oh, that movie or that performance really helped me. And, ultimately, I think if you're going to stick in any kind of public position, for me at least, that is the most gratifying thing. As cheesy as it might sound, it really is about connecting with someone and maybe making something that in some way shapes their experience here. Like, what an honor and a thrill that is to be able to do that in any capacity, in the arts. So yeah,
definitely. I mean, you definitely have played like a lot of legendary roles. I mean, you've been in so many different things, and like the first time I again with you, like the first time I ever saw you in anything was, of course, Village of the Damned, and and then it just went from there and just kept on going and going and going.
Well, that's it. I gotta say, that's what I'm pretty proud of, just because it's cool. But I mean, I was 6, so I don't know how much pride I can take in my work. But as just like being able to say I'm in a John Carpenter movie is like,
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah, that and Seinfeld. I like peaked at 6 and 8. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I know you're also a fan of horror movies, and the first time I had you on, I remember asking you what horror films you like, and so now this time I want to ask you, have you seen any newer horror films as of late?
I gotta admit, 2022 was so far in my life my worst. Like, I saw nothing. It was terrible.
Oh.
I had a really busy year. I was working on multiple projects, and I wrote like a bunch of scripts for hire and was making new music. And so, yeah, I was just in very like making, not watching mode. However, my favorite, maybe my favorite movie I saw last year was Pearl.
Oh yeah. Pearl. Yeah.
I saw it twice in the theater. I mean, because I just thought Mia Goth's performance was like one for the ages. I mean, it's a studyable, like, incredible tour de force performance. And then also, I've been a fan of West's work since House of the Devil and The Innkeepers and all that.
Yeah.
And I liked X a lot, but I actually saw X after Pearl, which was kind of
okay.
I went in like not knowing any backstory, and that was also what I thought was so great about that movie, was that when you've seen X, it totally works as part of this trilogy. But if you watch Pearl on its own, it's just this kind of batshit standalone. What is this movie? Like, in a great way. Yeah, I really liked Pearl. What else have I seen? I really liked Candyland.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Barbarian, which everybody tells me
that was really good. I liked it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've been. That's like another one that like everybody's like, you haven't seen Barbarian? I'm like, I'm working on it.
And Smile was good too.
Oh, what? Go on.
Smile was good too. That was like really creepy.
I still have not seen Smile. I'm sorry, Kyle. Kyle Gellner's like my favorite person on earth, and I still have not seen this fucking movie. But I will. I saw the trailer a bunch of times because that trailer was epic. But yeah, I do need to see.
Yeah, it's definitely creepy. Like just the fact that someone's staring at you real still with that crazy smile on their face, like that's so freaky to watch.
Uncanny.
And Halloween Ends, I didn't like that at all. Like, I wouldn't even waste your time watching it.
I saw it.
Oh, okay.
I saw it. I don't want to say anything negative. I like to say positive things because everybody very hard on their project.
True.
But I will say when Laurie unveiled this pie making tradition on Halloween, it kind of lost me. That was the moment. I was like, really? Lori celebrates the day by making a classic pie? Okay. All right, sure. Yeah, no, but congrats to everybody involved.
Definitely. I didn't mind the movie. It's just Michael Myers is supposed to be this unstoppable force, no matter if he's old or if he's young. He has like this superhuman power that a regular person doesn't have. And
Yes.
how fast Laurie killed him, and she was beating the shit out of him. Like, my mind was blown. I'm like, what's going on? Like, he's this unstoppable force, and he's getting his ass handed to him by a grandmother.
You know, part of me was like, fuck yes, do it, Lori. Like, that was part of the fun of it. Yeah, there were a few holes narratively, I'd say, you know. But like I said, kudos.
And, and you know, I noticed online with some of your posts, you're in really good shape. You definitely show off your good shape. And what do you do to stay in such amazing shape?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for saying I'm in amazing shape. I don't know if that's true, but thank you. First of all, let me just say on that, because I haven't said anything about, you know, for me, I first of all, I find nudity to be beautiful, expressive, can say a lot of things that maybe you're not so consciously aware of that it's saying things, especially right now in this era of kind of, you know, the thirst trap and the so all that shit. And I sort of have my own personal relationship to exposure and to nudity and to, especially throughout my career, in the years where I was very, you know, closed off and private and closeted and all of that. It was an era of a lot of like muscle, like young men muscle thing. And it was this whole kind of culture of like, when I came up, you know, it was like Zac Efron and Taylor Lautner, and that was like the thing. And so of course I rebelled against that, for better or for worse, because I wasn't comfortable in those spaces. It was a level of masculinity that I felt I was having to fake and to lie my way through. And so part of my sort of self-protection was to, no, I'm not into that. I don't do that.
I know.
The troubled artist over here, you know, because that felt comfortable. And so there's both for myself, there's a major liberation in now, in fully being able to be myself and sort of my perspective on myself and the world and culture and what's happening, to be able to kind of display that in an honest and kind of elegant and controlled way on my terms. It has been really special. So yeah, it is a little bit of a deeper purpose than, you know, just like posting my body. And that's been really wonderful and very freeing and very a good experience. But yeah, I also just, you know, when you cut out all the self-destructive shit and you suddenly realize your body is this very special gift that you've been given, and there's only one on the planet, and it's yours to do with what you're going to do with it.
Exactly.
I've definitely found a great peace and calm in just being in sort of daily physical exercise. And I'm not doing anything crazy. It's just like, you know, it is a kind of a daily thing though. I think that the mind body union, which is again very new for me. Like I joke, it only took me like 30 plus years to figure out I like exercise. But hey, you know, everyone's on their own schedule. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, those posts are very good, and I'm sure a lot of people appreciate them.
Also, also think like, yeah, I mean, I also just like, I love sex and sexuality as a, I don't know, as a kind of a, what's the word I want? I don't know, as a place to focus thought. And I don't think it's just for going to Pornhub, there's something quite, yeah, you can say a lot and experience a lot from seeing the perspective another person has on sexuality and their life relationship with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I love it. And do you, I mean, since you're in good shape, you say you exercise every day, I'm sure you eat right too. So is there any cheat food that you love to eat?
Oh my God. I mean, all the food I love to eat is cheap food. I will say that fortunately the thing that happens, like the more you are exercising, the less you kind of want the cheat stuff. Like the more your body naturally craves like the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I never ever met a mozzarella stick I didn't want to marry. Like there's a lot of deep dish pizza. I mean, all the joy things. All the tasty things.
Okay. I didn't know if you were eating that kind of stuff because you stay so trim.
You gotta live, man. It's gotta be a joy. I think that does happen though. The pressure to diet and to exercise and all that, it becomes like such a chore that you don't want to do it. Like you don't want to.
Yeah.
So the key is kind of just finding joy in it, like pleasure in it, and being like feeling like healthy. Like I remember like so many people along the way when I was like 20 would be like, don't you want to not feel like death like all the time? And I was like, no, I'm good. It was just a lot of persona playing to kind of get through I guess. Yeah.
And are you a coffee or a tea drinker?
Coffee.
Now, how do you?
Major coffee drinker, black.
Oh, okay. So you don't like no like flavored creamers or sugar or nothing like that.
No, I mean I'm not anti them, but I never like my mom loves all that shit. My mom
Yeah.
Caramelly, vanilla-y. No, it was funny. Coffee came in really late in my life, like 22 or something. I'd never ever drank coffee.
Oh, okay.
I was on a set and a friend of mine was like, you need coffee. And she made me a black coffee. And I think that's why I still like only ever think to get black coffee. But I drink a lot of coffee. Like I have like 3 cups in the morning and then 2 more in the afternoon. And I saw this thing recently that was like, David Lynch used to drink 8 cups of coffee. And I was like, and is there a problem with that?
Yeah, exactly.
The tea's good too, but no, I'm a coffee.
Well, I mean, especially all the stuff you do with like your music and acting, you need something to keep you going.
Yeah, caffeine's powerful though, man. Like it's it can really like it can rile you up and like it's it's a drug in a way. It's like I have one friend who does not. She's a musician friend of mine, and it's like somehow she just doesn't do caffeine. Period.
Really?
Like of any kind, and she's on tour all the time and doing these big. I'm just like I don't know how to do it, but
yeah, I can't start my day without having, as soon as I wake up, running right to the coffee pot and down in a cup, not down in a cup of coffee, I'll burn my throat.
I'm that who will throw like 2 ice cubes in my coffee so I can down it in like 30 seconds. Like I'm that guy. It's like hot coffee, but then I like make it like room temp so I can By the way, is that the Child's Play 3 poster behind you?
That is, that's actually Child's Play 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
do you have
the Chucky doll is actually, I think the bride of Chucky when his face got all burnt.
Yes. Do you have a favorite Child's Play movie?
My favorite, let me see. Probably I would say Child's Play 2. I mean, I love Child's Play 1. Like Child's Play 1 is an absolute classic because they tell you how Chucky becomes Chucky, but Child's Play 2 I think had a little more action in it, and I love the characters too, like Andy and his newly found sister from his foster parents, and she's badass, another girl from 90210,
Yeah,
Emily Emily Valentine, who was my favorite character on 90210.
and Grace Zabriskie of Twin Peaks and a million other things. She's the right, isn't she like the
Yeah, the
works
mom, right? Yeah, the
yeah,
yeah.
she gets
Mhm.
killed in the Xerox machine and it prints out. Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen the second one in a very long time. I rewatched the first one. I showed it to a friend who somehow had not seen it. And yeah, I like Bride too, because I think I was like 11 or 12 when Bride of Chucky came out, and obviously that's where it kind of shifts from straight up horror with a little humor to like, to me, comedy with some horror in it.
Yeah.
And so both ends of the spectrum, and of
Well,
course, the show with the amazing.
the television series is really good. Like I'm a big fan of the series, and the actors they got on that show are all great. Like everyone on that show is great.
Yes, and all very very nice. I've met like everybody on that show.
Oh, get out, really?
Yeah, because so Allie Lind, who
Yeah,
played
yeah.
girl, her mom played my mom on a Disney show for 3 years when I was a kid on Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh my
And
God, yeah, I remember that show.
so Barbara been my kind of other mom and closest confidant all through my life since we met when I was 9. And she has 3 beautiful, talented, all successful actress daughters, and I'm close with all 3 of them. I'm actually seeing them tomorrow.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but so because when they both got on the Chucky show, I went to like Universal Horror Nights with them and Dawn and all those kids, and yeah, it's a really great group.
Ah, that's so amazing. Like the the only one I got to interview from the show so far was the actor that plays Devin. I can never say his name.
George, right?
Yeah.
He's the only one I haven't met.
He's so nice. Like I interviewed him twice. I interviewed him for season 1 and season 2. I kept trying to get Zach and I kept getting shut down.
Hey, everybody's got their shit going on. I don't know.
Yeah, like Zach and Jennifer Tilly were 2 I tried really hard to get, and the agents just kept slamming the door on my face that I had all black and blue marks on it. Hey.
In this town,
Exactly. Jennifer Tilly, I always loved her. Like she's just amazing.
Never met her either, so I shouldn't say I met everybody. But yeah, she's an icon and a legend. I mean, my God. Yeah, I just remember too the Bride of Chucky soundtrack was
Oh
big
my God, that was good.
because it introduced me to. I was kind of already at that age into industrial
Yeah.
and like electronic industrial crossover, but that was like heavier stuff. Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah. That whole soundtrack was heavy. I loved it.
Rob and White Zombie, Kidney Thieves, Monster Magnet,
Mhm.
so many Typo Negative. It was a great soundtrack
Oh
for
my
like
God, yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Really,
I,
in general, there were so many good, like even like whatever movies had amazing soundtracks, like the Stigmata soundtrack, and,
yes.
or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack, like movies that are kind of but the tracks that were pulled were like crazy
I know.
cool. Yeah. Anyway,
Did you hear that they're actually like I was just reading that online. It's funny you said that they're making a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze are coming back for the
I
roles.
just saw that. Yeah. And all I thought was, when are they redoing Urban Legend?
Yes, exactly.
I loved Urban Legend. I mean, I guess I'm kind of in the minority there, but That was a favorite growing up.
Yeah. What was her name?
Rebecca
Rebecca
Gayheart.
Gayheart. Yeah, yeah. That was so good.
Yeah, she was a queen of the '90s. She's in Jawbreaker. She's in Scream 2. She's
Yes, that's right. She is. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she plays like a college. I also loved The Faculty.
Yeah.
That was also because I don't think I was fully aware, but Josh Hartnett in that movie was doing quite a few things for me in my pubescence.
Josh Hartnett during that era, like he did a lot of things for different people.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the reason why people watched his movies. They didn't care if the movie was good.
Well, it was the '90s,
Yeah, exactly.
and Clea Ball in The Faculty is so awesome too. I was like in love with her too.
Yeah.
Remember, she's like Stokely, I think is her name. She's all gothed out. And, yeah.
I mean, you can't forget Elijah Wood either. Like he was a big part of that.
So many, like Jordana Brewster and Famke Janssen and BB Newirth, Piper Laurie, like
that's right. She was in that.
Everybody's in that movie. Like,
wow, yeah.
John Haddisy, yeah. I haven't thought of that movie in a while, but apparently I have the entire cast in ready to go. My brain. Anyway.
Is there any new music that you've been listening to?
Yeah. I think when I'm making, like when I'm actively and like working every day on new music, I tend to kind of stick to kind of like one lane that's like within the lane of where I'm working.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of the influences on this record. So I've been listening to a lot of Underworld and Suicide and Alan Vega and this kind of disco group Nightlife Unlimited. If anybody, they're from back in the day, and they're pretty great. And but again, I haven't really been like listening to much that's new. I've sort of been like listening to a lot of 80s and 90s, particularly 90s, because like I made this album Into the Night that was all a direct homage to the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And sort of not by like design, but this one is kind of like early 90s.
Oh, nice.
Going on in particularly in England in the electronic scene in the 90s, with like Massive Attack and Prodigy and Under all these great. It was just such an explosive period of that kind of music, and that's what the music I love the most. So it kind of makes sense that this one is an ode to that. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I was always a big fan of Paula Abdul, and I'm still waiting for her to make something new.
But you never know.
Oh yeah, I love Paula. Like right before COVID hit, she came back out on tour again, like it was like her first tour in like 25 years. Of course I bought my ticket to go see that, and I bought the meet and greet too.
How was that?
And oh my God, it was so crazy. Like as soon as I came through the curtain, I didn't expect Paul to be standing right behind the curtain. Like I thought I would have time to like calm my nerves down, like walking through the curtain, then you have to wait, then walk to something else. As soon as I opened the curtain, she was right there, and I just froze, and I went ugh. And then she was like, "Oh, it's okay, honey." And she came over and she hugged me. She's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Ah." I was like, "I forgot."
Oh, that's sweet though.
Yeah, she was so nice. Like she was talking to me a little bit. She hugged me, and then she was like, she had like a little conversation with me, like to calm me down. And the person that was behind there that was taking the pictures, he kept going like this to Paul. He kept like singling, "Get that kid out of here." And Paul kept like going like this, telling him, wait. And then she's like, all right, you want to take a picture? I'm kind of being rushed now. She went.
It's funny. I don't get starstruck until the rare occasion I do. And when I do, it's really bad. Like, it's really like, because I think because I've grown up with actors and celebrities and all that,
Well, yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
necessarily that gets me, but it's if it's someone who has like made something or done something that I've like built this very personal, private relationship to, like on a deep level, that
Mm,
person then kind of becomes like inhuman to me. Like they're like this beyond being a person. So then when I meet them, it's like I met last year, probably my favorite current band is Boy Harsher,
okay.
which if doesn't know Boy Harsher, please check out Boy Harsher. I think they're like the best music around right now. But yeah, like I was lucky enough to meet them after their show in LA because of Jimmy Duvall. And I was just, I mean, there's a photo of me with them and it's embarrassing. Like I literally, I can't control my face. I didn't know what to say. So embarrassing. And the worst, one time I met David Lynch at a signing that he
Oh
was doing
yeah.
at Amoeba, and I had seen him in the distance for like the whole 40 minutes I was in line. I don't know, I was probably like 19. And I was sure of all the cool shit I was gonna say to him. And I was gonna make him my best friend. We were gonna bond. I got in front of him and he looked up and he was like, "To who?" And I just froze, like shaking. I think I said my name, he signed it, and then I was like, "Thank you very much," and just walked away. Like I didn't even have the power to like say hello. Like, yeah, it happens.
No, it definitely does. Like I was definitely like that with Paula Abdul, but luckily she was a real sweetheart. Like she took her time to get me to talk.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And is there anything coming up next for you? You want to like talk about, plug?
Um, I can't say anything about what I do in it, but it is that cat's out of the bag because my face is in a trailer for it. I am in the final season of Star Trek Picard,
Oh,
which
nice.
premieres in a week, I think.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I can now say that I'm part of it, but I don't think I'm permitted to say anything else. So I'm obviously very, thrilled and kind of, it's this crazy thing because my very first movie role when I was 5 was playing Picard's son in Star Trek Generations in this
Mhm.
Nexus sequence. And then I did multiple episodes of Star Trek Voyager when I was like 8. And so Star Trek has always kind of had this place in my life and career. So that's fun. And I'm gearing up to make another film, this film that I wrote that's kind of been filmically all I've been focusing on the last few years. And that's called Outage. And that's coming together imminently, which is exciting. And then this record and whatever else grabs my fancy along the way. But yeah, those are the things that are in motion
Oh,
as of now.
wow. Nice. That's awesome. I love it. I'm I'm really looking forward to whatever comes next for you, whether it's music, film, whatever.
Well, thank you for having me on as usual, and keep in touch.
I I always do. Like you always have a message from me in the inbox.
You're very kind.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, definitely have a great weekend. Thank you so much for doing this again. Like it was really fun doing the face-to-face cyber talk again.
Yeah, check out Little Dixie if you haven't yet. Little Dixie's really fun. It's really good.
That's
It's a good.
actually going to be the movie I watched tonight because I said like, I'm interviewing Thomas today. I'm definitely going to watch the movie as soon as I'm done.
Well, let me know what you think.
Okay, okay, I definitely will.
All right. Okay. Well, take care, my friend.
All right, buddy. You too.
See ya.
Bye.